President Trump's Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh, whose confirmation was once seen as a sure bet, well, now it's in question. All 10 Democratic members of the Senate Judiciary Committee are pushing for a delay on the committee vote, but far more significantly, 4 Republican senators, including one on the committee, agree, insisting that they need to hear directly from Kavanaugh's accuser, Christine Blasey Ford, before proceeding. Just minutes ago, President Trump himself seemed open to the prospect of a delay. Still, he praised Kavanaugh and argued that the accusation should have been brought forward sooner by the Democrats who have known about it since July.
Judge Kavanaugh is one of the finest people that I've ever known. He's an outstanding intellect, an outstanding judge, respected by everybody. Never had even a little blemish on his record. At the same time, we want to go through a process. We want to make sure everything is perfect, everything is just right. I wish the Democrats could have done this a lot sooner.
Yesterday, Ford went public with accusations of attempted sexual assault against Kavanaugh to the Washington Post. She had up until then remained anonymous, only sharing her identity with her representatives in Congress. Ford alleges that in the early 1980s, as a teenager, a drunken Kavanaugh held her down and tried to undress her at a party, and that she feared for her life as he put his hand over her mouth. Ford's lawyer today said she felt the act was an attempted rape at the time. Kavanaugh strongly denies the allegation, calling it, quote, completely false and saying, quote, I have never done anything like what the accuser describes to her or to anyone. This never happened, unquote. Both Ford and Kavanaugh say they're willing to testify publicly. Let's get right to CNN's Jeff Zeleny at the White House. And Jeff, considering how angry we're told President Trump is behind the scenes, those were some very measured comments he just made.
Jake, they were measured comments and disciplined as well, almost more disciplined than anything I can recall him saying, reacting with, on an issue with such consequences here. But that is why the president was doing that. He knows how serious this is. The White House has been in touch with Senate Republicans all day long. Judge Kavanaugh, in fact, was here at the White House for several hours, working behind the scenes with officials who now are preparing him for the possibility of another public hearing. The only time the president showed a bit of anger today, when he was asked if Judge Kavanaugh should withdraw. He said that is a ridiculous question.
Judge Kavanaugh is...
President Trump standing firmly behind Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh.
He's an outstanding intellect, an outstanding judge, respected by everybody. Never had even a little blemish on his record.
He said he would be open to delaying the confirmation vote.
I want him to go in at the absolute highest level. And I think to do that, you have to go through this. If it takes a little delay, it'll take a little delay. It shouldn't certainly be very much.
But behind the scenes, CNN has learned the president is furious and frustrated by what he suspects is an 11th hour attempt to smear his pick for the Supreme Court. A California professor, Christine Blasey Ford, accusing Kavanaugh of sexually assaulting her while they were teenagers in high school. Kavanaugh calling it a completely false allegation. Yet his confirmation now hangs in the balance. Kellyanne Conway, one of the highest-ranking women in the White House, trying to set a tone of civility.
Let me make very clear on behalf of the president with whom I've spoken at length about this. She should not be ignored or insulted. She should be heard.
Sending a message to others around the president, this moment is a serious one. It came after the president's son, Donald Trump Jr., mocked the accuser in this Instagram post, citing Judge Kavanaugh's sexual assault letter found by Dems. Will you be my girlfriend? Yes, no. Love, Brett. The president has been dismissive of other women who have come forward accusing him and other men of sexual misconduct, including last year with Alabama Republican Senate candidate Roy Moore.
He says it didn't happen, and you have to listen to him also. You're talking about, he said 40 years ago this did not happen.
But less than 2 months before the midterm elections, where women voters and candidates are playing a critical role, the White House is treading lightly, for now at least, saying both Kavanaugh and his accuser should be heard.
So, of course, it's an open question how long the president remains measured. But, of course, with the midterm elections just in the future, some 50 days away, combined with this Me Too movement, the White House taking this very seriously and trying to send a message both sides should be heard. Drake, the question is, will the president's allies, his own son included, keep on that same message, or are we about to see a new battle here in Washington erupt?